And Mike, I think Kostis is someone very, very close to you, isn't it?
Indeed, I cannot be more biased about this matchup, to be honest. I'm sorry to Marco.
He's one of your close friends, you said, right?
Indeed. And knowing him very well, he's a very good player. After coming with a top in YCS Birmingham, I'm sure that he wants to repeat in the European Championship.
Oh, did he do it with RYZEAL MITSURUGI there as well?
Pure RYZEAL.
Oh, pure RYZEAL at that point. But now we are over to the MITSURUGI part. And there is a Perulia in the standby phase, immediately netting a draw off of that ex-RYZEAL there. That is usually the start you want to have, but into a Perulia, it's pretty rough, honestly.
Yeah, it's really, really rough because now you actually get to search swords, so not even immediate access to Ice RYZEAL that could play around it a little bit better. Let's see where we're going to go with this. I mean, we could just summon out the sword and then go into King of the Feral Imps to add Habakiri and then try to play more from the deck. Maybe eventually go out for a detonator here, but we've drawn 2 cards already on the side of Marco, so there's no guarantee that it's gonna stop after this Perulia.
Yeah, Pot of Greed already resolved as the first motion of the day. Marco must be feeling good.
And I mean, RYZEAL MITSURUGI is a deck that, especially I guess Perulia, needs to adapt very good their plays, because he needs to go as fast as possible to MITSURUGI in order to play a little bit.
Wow! Marco maybe already had the Avermold Charmy already, or alternatively just drew into it with the Perulia draws. That RYZEAL cross is not going to help much. I think we're going to go into the detonator there and leave it as it is. That's what I'm assuming. Yep, there is the detonator.
And yesterday we had another draw here. Ooh. We had a little conversation, and I remember you saying detonator is a heck of a card.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, if you don't have infinite impermanence, RYZEAL detonator can be enough against some decks, even though...
Oh, okay, hold on.
All right.
Triple Tactic Talents, we're having a sweet look, and we're finding multiple engine cards for the Evil Twin deck, and also the FIENDSMITH Engraver in there. Honestly, out of those, maybe the Engraver really being the most scary one here, I want to say.
I can definitely see that, because you can just add the Tract with it. You have Larry in hand as well. I think, what are you even going to search at that point?
Lacrima.
It's,
But you really don't want to normal summon another monster other than...
the thing, yeah. And then you kind of want to summon Lacrima from the deck as well, so... I think the Engraver really is what changes this here, because... Yeah, you can't really stop the live twin cards anyways, as there is now this super powerful Link 1 monster for the deck, which of course is the Evil Twin Kizikil deal, and therefore any Kizikil monster really does it right on the spot, transforms you at least into FIENDSMITH combo. But ooh, we're making the decision here from Kostis to instead just go after live twin Kizikil there.
It's very interesting, because this deck usually doesn't play well into fields, but Detonator is not the worst card to play against, because if you normal summon your live twin Kizikil and Detonator is being chained, you just summoned a Lilla, and Lilla then again. Wow, that was the draw for turn. That is massive.
Infinite impermanence, making sure that maybe this game is not going to be infinite, but rather going into Marco's favor quickly here. What a start for him, and the Engraver still there, ready to be discarded. One reason to keep the Engraver in hand, though, could be if we have Drone and Lockbird ourselves, possibly, because if we do have that, that would be a perfect answer.
Just a note that Kostis chose to return Kizikil into the deck because he's the one that can go to the Link 1 instead on the live twin, since the Kizikil deal only needs a Kizikil in order to be summoned.
True. Very much right. Now the FIENDSMITH track, so there was no response with Drone and Lockbird on the resolution. One thing noteworthy, even though we have negated the RYZEAL Detonator, there's still 2 things about it, because it gives material for RYZEAL Cross to negate a monster effect anyhow, and there is a Mariologic Aggregator underneath it. So we can activate the effect at some point, making sure that the Aggregator in the graveyard eventually gets to activate its effect. So even though the Infinite Impermanence was there, it's still not all over with what the Detonator can do.
But we have good ways to force out the Detonator responses here, right? We have Requiem. Requiem is going to be able to summon out Lacrima if you want. You can just also go for another Engraver and then immediately just attach or equip the Requiem from the graveyard and force out the first detonator. In fact, we're negating the Requiem here.
Yes.
That is interesting, because now we basically have all the interruptions off. We know that there is no other piece of the Kill engine there, but I'm pretty sure that the Live Twins FIENDSMITH deck is going to be able to bridge.
So Kostis chose to only play against the FIENDSMITH, since now Marco probably needs to normal summon the Lacrima in order to keep going with his FIENDSMITH engine. Otherwise he could access the Live Team. So Marco right now needs to take the decision if he's going to play with Live Team or with FIENDSMITH.
Are you sure about that? Because I think you can just activate Requiem here, then Detonator must kind of be chained and send the aggregator to the graveyard to negate the to negate the engraver. And then if you normal summon Lacrima, you have a sequence line with Aerial. No, you don't have Aerial Ether lines. How do you bridge from FIENDSMITH into Live Twin? Do you?
You bridge
it's usually the other way around.
Yeah. You can.
Because it's so easy to bridge the other way around.
Yeah, sure, but
you can turn K-Skill Deal into Requiem.
I know, but there has to be another way, right? Yeah, there has to be a way that both of these engines work with each other.
I mean, probably with Aerial and then go to...
But there's no Aerial.
Yeah, you can't also... I mean, there are Fiends in the extra deck with the Evil Twins, but the Live Twins are all Cybers.
No, they're not Cybers. They are...
I've played this deck.
They're Fiends. They're Fiends. You mean the Evil Twin Lilla?
The main monsters.
Oh, the main monsters. They are different attributes. They're Aqua, Cybers. But yeah,
goodness.
they're Cybers, they're Spellcasters. There's all kind of different attributes. But there is a Cybers in there. I'll give you that, Leo. But I thought you were still talking about the main...
No, the Evil Twins, they are the Fiends, which is why you can bridge there.
And that's why they're evil as well,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, the Lacrima is out now as well. And like you were saying, deciding only to play against the FIENDSMITH engine, I think the FIENDSMITH engine on its own is going to have trouble closing out the game here right on the spot. So there is a chance that it gets back to Kostis here eventually.
Yeah, indeed, because he right now wants to take another turn. So don't forget that he has been Purulia and Fugalos, so it means that he has a lot of follow-up probably in his hand.
Sure.
So he just wants to take one more turn and play in a mini board rather than getting OTK'd.
That is a good point. Of course, you always take that, but after the triple tactic talents, we knew that Marco also has double drone Lockbird in hand. Plus the setup, probably Desiree that we're going to see.
Sequence, and I mean, if we go into Desiree, there might also be a way to get rid of the cross even, so there's even less follow-up than for Kostis. That could still be, well, more than enough for Marco, what he's trying to do here. Okay, immediately linked off for the Agnum Day, of course. We're seeing Fiends of Agnum Day a lot this weekend. I feel like we're almost seeing it more than the Caesar, actually. We're preferring the Link Road and the Fusion Monster in between instead of the also powerful rank 6.
Yep, and I mean, you're not quite getting the OTK just with Agnum Day and Desiree. That's why we're sending the RYZEAL cross. Agnum Day activates, becomes a Desiree, and now we can just attack freely over the detonator. So we have outed the field. We can attempt at least. We're going to probably calculate some math here. Attack over detonator, everything resolves. And I think Marco, even though this isn't the most impressive field that he could put up, it is Desiree plus double draw and Lockbird. So if a Called by the Grave was drawn by Kostis, you wouldn't even have to negate it. You would just throw another draw and Lockbird at it and be fine.
Yeah, this definitely does look alright. Noteworthy though, that Desiree does not have sequence as a monster equipped to it, meaning X RYZEAL would be huge, but on the other hand, there's Aggregator already in the graveyard, and therefore that's not that big of a deal anymore.
Good point, but you could send Valen and destroy
Valen is for set cards only though.
Alright.
And then we have Ice RYZEAL as a normal summon, will be answered with the Desiree, rightfully so.
Seems
But is there just another RYZEAL? Oh, it is Ice RYZEAL, which will be special summoned.
It's not necessarily the one you want, but it does work with something like a King of the Feral Imps, even though King of the Feral Imps also doesn't do too much if you know that you will be under Droll and Lockbird after this. The thing is, Aggregator is in the graveyard now, or Detonator is in the graveyard, and RYZEAL crosses in the graveyard as well. So the RYZEAL engine, it doesn't really do too much right here.
If we get to Duo Drive searches us too. Of course, we do get Droll and Lockbird on the resolution, but how much can we do with two monsters that we search? Possibly. Okay, it looks like, we do go into Duo Drive. I guess we get X RYZEAL then. We could toy around with X RYZEAL actually sending Eclipse Twins.
Oh,
I feel like Eclipse Twins might be a real good tool to work around all of this here. Now uses the Duo Drive, of course. I feel like there is a way for Kostis here.
Definitely looks
I
like
think
it.
there's only one Xyz though in the graveyard. So Clipson cannot reborn right now the detonator.
Yeah, not yet, that's true.
But with Node, obviously, it's a very good play.
Yeah, that's probably what you want to go for. There is the node, so we have now, and I mean, we can also just use the effect of RYZEAL. Oh, wow, that is enough, Marco says. We are picking up our cards, confident enough that Kostis will take it from here. And honestly, I was not expecting this game to develop that way after Perulia and Fubalos right away on the first turn, but Kostis is up a game now.
All right. Marco gets to start now, and everyone knows this deck excels at going first, can basically play around any hand trap except for Mulchami Fugalos. That is an absolute nightmare to play against if you are on the live Twin FIENDSMITH strategy.
Alia, don't be a snitch. We're not seeing the Mulchami Fugalos here, but Marco has the live Twin Sunny snitch instead.
Knowing his face, he has something in his sleeve, trust me.
Okay. You know your friend Kostis very well, so let's see. There is Droll and Lockbird, and now we will have to find out how impactful that even is against the live Twin FIENDSMITH deck, because in my book, under my radar, under my watch, whenever I activated that Droll and Lockbird against live Twin FIENDSMITH, it didn't really feel like it was doing too well, but let's find out here.
You know what I think? I think that Marco even could have an answer for that, and it's just like, all right.
Alrighty.
All right,
we'll take that.
I can still full combo here, especially because we started with the Kizikil. I don't even need to activate Kizikil deal effect, because that would include drawing. Or can you activate that? I mean, we've had a discussion about this before.
The Twin Kizikil deal is sending to the graveyard there, yeah. And we did send the Sweet to the graveyard with that. Oh, hold on. Okay, I think that is what we're...
And this is exactly why Live Twin breeds so good with FIENDSMITH. You can just change Kizikil deal into Requiem.
Oh, but no Fiends with access, but there is Called by the Grave on the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So yes, there is FIENDSMITH for Marco.
And I want to see right now how Marco can combo under Droll, because we had a discussion earlier if Droll is good against the live Twin FIENDSMITH or not. And as you, Basti, said, it's rather mediocre since he can access his FIENDSMITH engine very easily, as we can see right now.
Absolutely. Do we see a Caesar this time around, though? That's what I'm curious about. I would expect it, but you never know, of course. And I mean, not only the FIENDSMITH engine, but also just the Evil Twins and Live Twins, they just work really, really well under Droll and Lockbird. You just get to still anyhow go into Evil Twin Kizikil and Evil Twin Lila setup. You may even go into Evil Twin Troubled Sunny if you like, and that's just not impacted. Okay, you don't get the draw off of Evil Twin Kizikil, I guess, but you will be fine without that.
Absolutely. I mean, Droll and Lockbird basically is, for Marco, rather a security net, knowing there won't be any Mulchami Fugalos action.
Yes.
So actually, when this card resolves against you, you're like, you know what? Yes! Yes, thank you.
Engraver effect now after a Bower Q, of course. The new boss monster, essentially, from all of the Fiend decks out there. Unchained uses this, and of course also the Live Twin FIENDSMITH deck is using it, and we're discarding FIENDSMITH in Paradise. What a discard that is, because out of a dead card in hand, we just actually made a real interruption in the graveyard now.
I mean, the Lacrima in the graveyard becomes significantly less strong, but look at this field. Look at this setup. Kostis will now have to play into this with only 4 cards in hand. Droll and Lockbird did nothing. Ash Blossom was banished later on, but the cards that Kostis has in hand, they don't look too bad.
Let's find out. We will have to deal with so many things. Interesting decision, honestly, by Marco to summon that Caesar in defense position. Sure, playing around Lightning Storm here a little bit, but it's not that big in terms of defense points anymore. It's only 1800.
He has 2 mini protections through battle, though, since both links can destroy monsters.
Yeah, that's true.
So he wants to force the battle phase.
Ooh, RYZEAL is something to out a Caesar anyways, though. That's huge.
That's the best answer to DDD Wave King High Caesar in the game, I want to say. The good thing is when you know that your opponent has activated 2 hand traps in your first turn, you still full combo. There is just a minimal chance of them drawing into field breaking cards like Forbidden Droplet, like Lightning Storm. Because usually you're either playing a lot of hand traps to stop your opponent from comboing completely, or you're playing only breakers just to get through any kind of field.
Sword RYZEAL successfully added to the hand, but there is Droll and Lockbird this time around. Both sides now using Droll and Lockbird. And this is now even better. Of course, we did not use Called by the Grave on Droll and Lockbird.
Yeah.
If we just have one ourselves, because we truly want to resolve that, of course.
And to be honest, as you mentioned earlier, Basti, Droll doesn't do a lot against Live Twin, so you can keep your Cold for an As potentially, as we saw.
I mean, it just basically tells you that you can't be a Fubalos, which is really good. I think, by the way, if you're on Marco's side, you should definitely destroy one of these monsters here, because otherwise we can see the Excitonite, the Evil Swarm Excitonite has been such a powerhouse in the past and is now more relevant than ever, comes up in so many games. And yes, we're activating Trouble Sunny. We won't get a draw from our Kizikil, but Lilla is going to destroy a monster.
And there it goes.
I mean, Marco respecting the extra knight that you said, Leo. And yes, I think this is game, actually.
Kostis packs up the card, says, yep, that Droll and Lockbird was maybe 1-2. I think in a way Purulia also hits both engines, because the summoning from hand effect is sometimes really relevant, even though you can just skip it in your combo if you've been Purulia'd.
Yeah. And I feel like, Mike, you're more nervous than Kostis here. You're really sweating here for him. I can really relate to that, though. And he doesn't look super happy here. Or is he just concentrated and locked in, trying to figure out what of those amazing cards in his hands is the best one to start with?
It is his kind of poker face.
Okay, all right, I respect it.
Also, if you're rooting for Kostis, I'm rooting for Marco.
Same, because he has gold pride sleeves. He has gold pride sleeves, he's all my man.
Yeah, true. Those are amazing. I used these for my Time Wizard decks, actually.
And I have to give it to Marco that he played very good the game too, and he interacted very well against Kostis.
Oh, but this is taking a while, Kostis. Do you even have a play? Or is it just between all of those good cards again?
I mean, yeah, if he has nothing, he's gonna pass fast, right?
Oh, he is passing, though. It wasn't fast, but in the end, it is Marco's turn now.
To be honest, I have seen this face a lot of times, unfortunately.
But I mean, he has to have something. But he can't have Mulchamis. You always side them out going first, right? So there has to be something in his deck that does something for him here. What leads you to be in this position? I mean, the problem with this deck, the problem with the RYZEAL MITSURUGI deck, that doesn't really do too much.
That was good back in the day, right? When you played Runic Live Twin, you would always try to imperm this, but now with the Link 1, it barely really does anything, to be honest.
It gives so much power to the deck. Accessing your field engine after you combo with Live Twin, it's just miraculous.
The big problem of this deck is that you play cards like RYZEAL Cross, you play cards like Kusanagi, there is going to be, what else, RYZEAL Star sometimes. There are so many brick cards. If you still have some of your cards like Droll and Lockbird in your main deck because you had to side out all the Mulchamis and there's nothing else to bring in, your hand against this deck can be absolutely terrible.
There's even more cards. No RYZEAL, Night Sword Serpent. There's really plenty of cards. Cross-up Designator, Called by the Great. Actually, there's a lot of cards that you don't want to draw.
Now, I realize why I bricked so much in this deck.
Okay, we got the Necrocrypt Princess on the field, which I always like, because if our opponent now has an Ash Blossom or something, we are kinda secured from it, because we can just get a draw through the Necrocrypt Princess as a backup plan. Alright, keep on Link climbing. That does very much look like a link into the Evil Twin Kizikil.
This is looking great for my boy Marco.
Indeed. Unfortunately, I have to say that Marco, at this point, has done nothing wrong. He plays under everything right now, and I know that he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yep, I will say, fortunately, he's a great player so far. You're absolutely right about that. Bawaku here as well. Bawaku can, of course, discard cards to activate effects, and Necroquences will be happy about that. But at this point, you're leaving it on the field to play around a possible Nibiru the Primal.
Yes, you do, and therefore we have checked Nibiru, and we do just go into the FIENDSMITH sequence. I feel like we are on our way to get to 8,000 points of damage here, possibly. That is 3 Fiends, including FIENDSMITH Engraver, and we all know what kind of a combination that is. That is FIENDSMITH Desiree, of course, and once more there's also the FIENDSMITH Agnamday coming our way, or rather coming Kostis' way here.
Now, Kostis, do you have? Nope, this is no Nibiru at the end of the main phase, not even bluffing his way through this. Abawaku attacks, Agnamday attacks, Agnamday puts itself into the spell trap zone, Desiree attacks, Kostis is just nodding here and shows the 9-sword serpent in hand, gives up the handshake, and Marco wins round 10.
Wow, look at the hand there, double, triple